If you lose 1 point of human desire, you will get 1 point of lightness. There is no extravagant desire for things outside the body. With the continuous development of society, people pay more and more attention to the pursuit of material interests. While people tend to be materialized, their spirit is more and more separated from their own hearts, and people feel more and more lonely, depressed, irritable and contradictory in the depths of their hearts. How to improve people's barren and tense spiritual realm, and obtain a kind of spiritual freedom. Wang Yangming provides a solution for people. Wang Yangming's students asked him, "I'm afraid conscience also exists in fame and sex. Is this view correct?" Wang Yangming replied, "Of course. But when we first learn to work hard, we must clean up our hearts, and make them clear and clear. Don't let our hearts fall into things such as fame, sex, goods and profits. When they come, they are not welcome. Go also do not nostalgia, regret. So that we can calmly deal with all kinds of things encountered, will not become a burden on the soul naturally. They will follow their original wisdom to deal with it." Wang Yangming stressed that he should deal with the world with an open-minded state of mind, and should not let what he encounters become a fetter in his heart, and should not be a slave to fame and gain. Every one's troubles come from two sources. One is their own desires, and the other is external things, such as money, power, Chinese houses, fame, beauty, delicacies, etc., which tempt and annoy people. And these many troubles, because people have too much persistence, too much greed, all day thinking about how to get sound, color, fame and wealth and other external things, the heart will suffer. If we can suddenly look at it, and follow the fate of coming and going, rather than persistently seeking it, life will naturally be a little more free and easy. There was a rich man, who carried a lot of gold and silver treasure on his back, and went to the distance to find happiness. He walked through thousands of mountains and rivers, but failed to find happiness. So he sat dejectedly by the mountain road. A farmer came down from the mountain with a large bundle of firewood on his back. The rich man said, "I am an enviable rich man. Excuse me, why am I not happy?" The farmer put down the heavy firewood, and wiped his sweat comfortably. Happiness is very simple. To let go is to be happy. The rich man was suddenly enlightened. He was carrying such heavy jewels, always afraid of being robbed by others, afraid of being set up by others, and worried all day long. Where does happiness come from? As a result, the rich give jewelry and money to the poor, specializing in charity and compassion. Good deeds nourished his heart, and he tasted the taste of happiness. The days when Wang Yangming devoted himself to lecturing was called by himself the happiest time in his life. Since he has not been appointed by the imperial court, why not devote himself to the cause of lecturing? The so-called official name and work are external things, and the most important thing is to be satisfied with the heart and spirit. Therefore, during that period of time, there was an endless stream of people coming to study. Whether it is because his natural optimism infects others, or his mentality inspires others, it is certain that Wang Yangming has an open-minded heart. One psychologist points out that one of the most common and destructive tendencies is to focus on what we want, not what we have. It doesn't seem to make any difference to how much we have. We just keep expanding our list of desires, which leads to our dissatisfaction. Your psychological mechanism says, when this desire is satisfied, I will be happy. But once the desire is satisfied, this psychological effect will be repeated over and over again. Fortunately, there is a way to be happy, and that is to change the focus of our thinking, from what we want to what we have. Not to expect your lover to be someone else, but to try to think about her good qualities, not to complain about your salary, but to thank you for having a job, not to expect you to spend a holiday in Hawaii, but to have fun near where you live. Don't force yourself to be others. Don't want villas and mansions when you see others living in villas and luxury houses. When you see other people driving BMW fragrant cars, you are eager to own BMW fragrant cars. Even when you see other people's beautiful girlfriends and virtuous wives, you want to replace your girlfriend and wife. How can there be perfect things and perfect people in the world? In this way, you can't have the feeling of happiness for a moment, and you will go further and further on the road of desire. In fact, all external things are false, and even if we get it, we will not feel satisfied. On the contrary, it will make people have more and greater desires. And all these are rootless, will go to the end, to the opposite. There is no more than 3 generations of wealth, and there is also an example of extreme joy giving rise to sorrow. Therefore, it is not only a kind of wine to take off, but also a kind of peace after understanding all things. We do not maintain a calm heart, learn to respond to things, but do not stay in the past and put them down properly. Only by putting down those things that are too heavy can you relax your mind. When something brings you only endless troubles and sorrows, all kinds of burdens weigh on your heart so that you can't breathe freely, then the wisest way is to give it up. Don't be tired by it. Happiness will naturally come back to you. Wealth is an obstacle to meditation. To put it bluntly, the lively scenery of life is nothing but fame and wealth. Only by keeping a proper distance from fame and fortune can we be detached, be full of things, be transparent, and be a really happy person. However, from ancient times to the present, how many people have lost their principles and lost themselves in the chaotic Vanity Fair? Fame and wealth are important in the floating world. How many people can throw them away in ancient and modern times? When Wang Yangming led troops to fight the war, he once stipulated, all soldiers, but sentinels always refer to various kinds of things, such as divine blessing, gift management, and so on, and they are all allowed to go to the roads to seek treatment from more than one point. He strictly demanded that his subordinates should not accept anything from the people, otherwise they would be severely investigated. Not only that, he also urged people to expose bribery and reward incorruptible officials. Through these measures, Wang Yangming taught the local people to watch the vulgarity of greed and meanness, and jointly discourage the wind of concession. Wang Yangming's attitude towards wealth well reflects his honesty and meditation. In the opening words of A Dream of Red Mansions, everyone says that the immortals are good, but the fame is unforgettable. The good song seems to tell an official case in the prosperous and rich world, and it seems to warn people to beware of the coldness and warmth in the world of fame and wealth, which seems negative. But it is actually a true portrayal of life, even hundreds of years later. The world is always blinded by desire, moves around in the lively scenery of life, and is burdened by external things such as fame and wealth. Those who attach great importance to fame and wealth always want to take all the wealth into their pockets, and all the house of fame to the top of their heads. As a result, they will be troubled by the locks of fame and wealth. One evening, two very close friends were walking in the woods. At this time, a passerby ran out of the forest in a panic. When they saw this, they grabbed the passersby and asked, "Why are you so panicked? What happened?" Passersby said nervously, "I was transplanting a small tree, when I suddenly found a jar of gold." The two men were amused and said, "What is there to be afraid of digging up gold? You are so funny." Then they asked, "Where did you find it? Tell us. We are not afraid." Passersby said, "You'd better not go. The thing will eat people." The two men laughed and said in unison, "We are not afraid. Please tell us where it is." So passersby had to tell them the exact location of the gold, and the two men ran quickly into the woods, and found the jar of gold. One man said, "If we ship the gold back now, it's not safe. We'd better wait until after dark. Now I'll stay here and watch. You go back and get some food. We'll have dinner here and transport the gold back in the middle of the night." So another person went back to get the food. The man who stayed thought, "If only all the gold were mine. When he comes back, I'll beat him to death with a stick. Won't all the gold belong to me?" The people who went back were also thinking, "When I go back, I will have enough to eat first, and then put some poison in his meal. As soon as he dies, won't all the gold be mine?" Before long, the man who went back came with the food, and as soon as he got to the woods, he was beaten to death by another man with a stick. Then the man picked up the meal and ate it. It wasn't long before his stomach hurt like a fire, and he knew he had been poisoned. Before he died, he remembered the words of passersby, "He's right. Why didn't I understand?" It can be seen that wealth is only an obstacle in the way, and its beautiful and dazzling hair is really attractive once it is mounted. It cannot be stopped, and it will eventually fall into the abyss. In Shu Wu Ghost, Shuangzi said, "If money does not accumulate, those who are greedy will worry. Those who do not have power, especially those who boast, will be sad. Those who have potential things will be happy to change." People who pursue money tend to be sad because they do not accumulate much money, and those who are greedy are never satisfied. Those who pursue status often grieve secretly because their positions are not high enough, and people who are infatuated with power especially like social unrest, in order to take the opportunity to expand their power in the midst of turmoil. And these people, who can't see through money, are doomed to have endless troubles. Power is like shackles, wealth is like a cloud. He took thousands of pains in vain before he died, and he held a pair of empty hands after death. The reason why the shackles can bind people, the reason why the house can trap people, mainly because the parties refuse to put down. If you can't let go of money, you become a slave to it. If you can't let go of fame, you become a prisoner of fame. It's better to take a step back, stay away from fame and wealth, and give your heart a vast sigh that can gallop freely.